Okay, guys, hello, good morning. How are you?
Fine, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, guys, if you answer quickly, I will let you go early, okay? And today we'll talk about medicine of new times, about biomedical disciplines, about histology, about general pathology, microbiology, physiology, of course, in Western Europe and Russia. Malia Kasim, let's start with you because he was absent. Malia Kasim. Okay, absent. Next one. Zubair.
Yes, ma'am.
And now where are you? You're in Pakistan?
Yes, ma'am. I am in Pakistan.
Okay. Because I wrote Zubair Muhammad Rivalin. That's why. Okay. You didn't have any grade. That's why. Please start, Muhammad Zubair. And what about your student independent work? Did you send me?
Yes, ma'am. I have sent independent work.
Okay. Answer quickly, okay? I will let you go early.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What is the new times? When did it happen?
What, ma'am?
What is the new time?
Yes, ma'am.
When did it start and in what year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Zubair, let's start.
New times, ma'am.
Yes.
Medicine during the 17th century, the growth of cities and towns during the 17th century placed enormous pressures on the availability of cheap housing. Slum areas grew quickly. Many families were forced to live in single rooms in ramshackle tenements or in damp cellars with no sanitation or fresh air. Drinking water was often contaminated by raw sewage and garbage was left rotting in the street. Problems with the disposal of the dead often added to the stench and decay. In London, perhaps 1 in 5 children died before their second birthday. In certain districts, the infant's mortality rate reached 75% of all births. Whenever epidemics struck during the 17th century, more people died in London than were baptized every year. Medicine
And
during the Yes, ma'am.
okay, continue.
Medicine during the 17th century, due to the growing use of dissection as part of medical training, Diagnosing and successfully treating diseases, however, was often hit and miss. The connection between uncleanliness and the spread of diseases was not properly understood, and many people continued to die simply as a result of poor hygiene. Many women died in childbirth because of infection. Even having your teeth pulled out could be fatal. Major surgery was particularly dangerous. Dirty surgical instrument caused wounds to be infected, and this caused the death of many patients. Flea and rat infestations were also common even in healthy households, and many diseases were spread this way in crowded urban environments. Medicine during the 17th century, a doctor consultation was costly and often inconvulsive. Most doctors dealt with only the wealthiest member of society, and the poor were often left to seek alternative forms of help. Lower down the scale, barber surgeons might be called on to perform a range of surgical procedures: the removal of kidney stones, the lancing of boils, or setting of broken bones, or simply letting the blood of patients for a whole range of ailments and conditions. In many towns, charitable hospitals and dispensaries also offered basic health care to the poor children and expectant mother. For example, to old sailors and soldiers. And as a last resort, dozens of quacks were on hands to offer an array of positions, powders to those most desperate for relief from pain or discomfort. Okay, ma'am.
Continue, Zubair.
Yes, ma'am. Medicine during the 17th century, yellow fever was one of the many diseases that killed many people in the 1700th century. It was very common to die from it because they didn't have cures for it. The symptoms start with headache, chills, and an itchy in back, arms, and legs. Next comes a high fever for about 3 days. After 3 days, the person's fever goes away, but only for a couple of hours. After that, the high fever returns, and as red blood cells are destroyed, the skin and eyes turn yellow. Next, the person vomits black blood because of bleeding in the nose, gums, and intestines. As the person's pulse grows weak, they start to become confused and delirious. Also, tiny red bumps may appear on the skin. Death follows shortly after. Medicine during the 17th century. In 1678, doctors found a cure for smallpox and measles, but didn't use the cure until 1721. They also had a vaccine to prevent smallpox. Zabdiel Bulliston of Boston successfully gave his son the vaccine, which encouraged many other people to get the vaccine. This was especially true in the great university centers in Europe. Each had their own simplistic versions of the ills of the human body. They thought that the ills of the human body were due to maladjustment of body system.
Okay, Muhammad Zubair. And when new time did start? In what year?
What, ma'am?
1640, yes? When this new time did start? 1640, yeah? 1640 till 1980. Do you understand? In the
Yes, ma'am.
16th century. And in this period, developed capitalist relations and English bourgeois revolution in 1640. And what is the development of capitalist relation and what is the English bourgeois revolution?
Ma'am, I?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Capitalist production required the development of natural science knowledge, machines, physics, chemistry.
Yes.
Outstanding scientific discoveries of the 17th to 18th centuries had a decisive influence on the formation of modern medicine. Morphological sciences, pathology, histology, physiology, and clinical medicine received predominant development.
Okay. And difference between morphological sciences and clinical medicine?
Pathological sciences, ma'am.
No, morphological sciences. You said about morphological sciences that pathology, histology, physiology, yes? And what about clinical medicine? What does it mean clinical medicine?
Yes, ma'am.
It's a therapy, yes? It's a surgery.
Clinical medicine is a type of scientific medicine
Mm-hmm.
that give more emphasis on practice. It focus
Mm-hmm.
on the healing patient directly through diagnosis, treatment, surgery, and uh,
Yes.
prognosis.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Muhammad Zubair, thank you. The next one,
Okay, ma'am.
Malia Kasim. The student also was absent.
Yes, ma'am. Mohammed Qasim.
No, Malia Kasim.
Okay, ma'am.
Malia Kasim. Absent. Mian Rabbab Hossan. Mian Rabbab Hossain. Absent. Manur Sadia.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you understand what is the morphological sciences and clinical medicine? Yes. Morphological sciences that it's pathology, histology, physiology, and clinical medicine. It's like treatment, like therapy, surgery. Do you know?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
when your time did start? In what year?
You tell me about 1640.
Mm-hmm.
It starts from 1640.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And we have in this period great discoveries of natural sciences. For example, first one, the theory of the cellular structure of living organisms, and is the cell. Is the main structural component of plants and animals. And what is the cell?
Yes, ma'am. What?
What is the cell? And can you compare about plant cell
Cell is
with the
the
animal cell?
ma'am. Cell is the basic membrane bound
Mm-hmm.
unites that contains the fundamental molecule of life.
Yes. And what is the, can you compare difference between plant cell and animal cell?
And there are many differences between plant cell and animal cell.
Okay, say. First one
Major
is cell wall,
major
yes?
structural difference. Yes, ma'am. Plant cell have cell wall, but animal cell do not. And cell wall provides support and gives shape to plants. And plant cell
Mm-hmm.
have chloroplast, but animal cell do not. And other differences also have.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And okay, continue. About law, about theory.
Okay, theory. Mm, Medicine during the 17th century, doctor based their diagnosis of illness on the ancient belief of Homer's bodily tension or other cruder doctrinal dogmas. The practice of bleeding with leeches to cure illness was common during the 18th century. In fact, the practice of medicine caused more harm than good. Doctors did not sterilize their hand or instrument. The medicine prescribed for ailment were just as bad. In Europe, anything and everything was used in the mixing and making of drugs. In America, the more common sense approach to medicine prevailed. In fact, lay healers were better doctors than learned physicians. Medicine during the 17th century. During the 18th century America, the most commonly used medicine were botanical. In fact, the most widely read material were the herbal catalogs, which explained where and how healing herbs grew. In addition, these materials explained their uses. There were improvement in 18th century. For instance, public health and hygiene received more attentions. Population statistics were beginning to be kept, and suggestion arose concerning health legislation. Unlike today, 18th century medical sciences were not as advanced in scientific knowledge because the body and its function were still a mystery. In Europe, the doctors still adhered to dogmas of vitalist, iatrogynist, and itrophysicist. Each followers of these brand of medical practice argued over which of their single causes explained all human health vitalist. Medicine during the 17th century, the use of vaccination began in the 18th century. The smallpox was the main target for this type of therapy. Smallpox was a disfiguring and often fatal disease. In fact, at times it was an epidemic which ravaged the cities and countries in Europe. Smallpox. Everyone probably knows that cocaine is bad for your health. In the 18th century, the people in Victoria did not exactly know that cocaine was dangerous. Actually, cocaine and other modern drugs were considered medicinal. Back then, a lot of substances were used as medicines. These medicines were called patent medicine. Patent medicines required no prescription, which means they were for sale by all druggists. Medicine 1800 to 1899. Despite the exciting advances that took place in science and medicine in the 17th and 18th centuries, it was only in the 19th centuries that medicine itself became scientific. This was largely the result of the integration of the natural sciences into medical therapy. During the 18th century, the foundation of scientific medicine were first established. The idea of enlightenment had inspired the search for a rational system of medicine as well as practical means of preventing disease and improving human welfare. Social and medical reformers argued that scientific investigation of the abominable condition of cities, navies, armies, and prisons, as well as the human body and pathological signs and symptoms, could improve the health and prosperity of society as a whole. Advocate of public health and preventive medicine like John Pater Frank, 1745 to 1821, sometimes argued states to adopt authoritarian method to accomplish their goals and ideals. By studying the lives of peasants and workers, reformers hope to make physicians and philosophers see how diseases were generated by a social system that kept whole classes of people in condition of permanent misery. Okay, ma'am. Continue or not?
And
Continue. If I continue?
okay, my Sadia Manur it was, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Next one, Mian Rabbab. Ah, sorry, he's absent, yes? should write absent. Davut Amanat. Davud Amanat. Davud Amanat. Malia Kassim is absent. Hamza Atta. Hamza Atta absent. Shahadat Khan. Absent.
Yes, ma'am.
Shahadat Khan, are you here?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Why you was absent?
In last lecture. Sorry, ma'am, I was busy in last lecture. That's why.
And what should I do? Because he was absent in 29 March, 30 March and 23 March.
Yes, ma'am.
And what should I do with you? You didn't send me any notes, yes?
Ma'am, independent work.
Independent board work, okay. And notes you should send me.
Ma'am, notes.
What about your student independent work?
Yeah, ma'am, I send on model platform.
What?
Independent work, ma'am, I send.
Mm-hmm.
I submitted in the model platform.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand you. Shahadat Khan, did you send me?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what about your or do you respect me for skipping my classes?
What, ma'am?
Or do you disrespect me for skipping my classes?
Sorry, ma'am. In last class, I feel not good. That's why I can't join your class.
Do you know you should work out these all topics?
What, ma'am?
Do you know you should work out these topics, all of these topics? Not to write just notes. Okay, Shahadat Khan, you have a model, you have a model after 2 weeks, and you will not write a model until you have worked it out.
Ma'am, I write my independent works and I also submit on model platform.
Independent work is another, and practice lesson another.
Yes, ma'am.
You should work out these topics.
Sorry, ma'am.
Okay, it's your problem. It's not mine. Okay, continue. When did it start? New time.
Ma'am, the new time start in history of new time, ma'am, 1640 to 1980.
Okay, continue.
Ma'am, the term new time was the first introduced in the 16th century. It is identified with the period of development of Philippines relation 1640 to 1980. A characteristic feature in the English Burgess Revolution in 1640, the development of the colonial system and struggle for the restriction of colonies, which ended in 1980. Philippines production required the development of natural sciences knowledge, uh, mechanics, physics, chemistry. Outstanding scientific discoveries of 17th, 18th centuries had decisive influence on the formation of modern medicine. Morphological sciences, pathology, histology, physiology, and clinical medicine received predominant development. The great discovery of natural sciences, the theory of the cellular structure of living organisms, translated 1838 to 1839. The cell is the main structure components of plants and animals. The law of conservation of transformation of energy, Eugene Lemonnier, 1756 to 1774. An idea of the transmission of food into blood is given. The evolutionary doctrine of Charles Darwin, 1859, Mendel's law of heredity and variability, 1865. Formation of anatomical school in Western Europe and Russia. Anatomy, Greek anatome, cutting dissection. The largest anatomical school of the time was founded at Leiden University. One of the largest anatomists of the time, Frederick Rice, 1638 to 1731, received his medical education at the University of Leiden. He defended his dissertation in 1665 and was invited to Amsterdam to lecture on anatomy for the city's guild of surgeons. It's enough, maybe, or continue?
No, continue.
Okay, Frederick 1638, 1731. Frederick is an outstanding Dutch anatomist. He perfectly mastered the technique of preparing anatomical preparation and the method of injection blood vessels with colored liquids. He invented an original way to embalm corpses, created the first anatomical museum over 2,000 exhibits. Founding of anatomical school in Russia. Founding of anatomical school in Russia is associated with the era of Peter I, 1682, 1725. Peter I attended Rice's lectures in Amsterdam in 1698 and 1717 was present at operation and anatomical dissections. In 1707, by decree of Peter I, the first hospital school
Okay,
in Russia
Shahadat
was.
Khan.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't disappear, okay? For today, I will give you 15, and please work out the another topics, another all topics, and please write your notes and send me to the Moodle. I will wait.
Yes, ma'am. Notes. I don't understand. What notes, ma'am?
Notes?
Ma'am, in copy or independent work.
No, independent work is another. And notes, it's your homework. You should work out these topics, yes? To another topics. You was absent.
Yes, ma'am. I was absent in last lecture.
Okay, please write your conspectus notes about these topics and send me. And in the next time, I will ask you one question.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
All of these topics I will ask you because you should write module. Yes?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Next, smart student Wahid Muhammad. Wahid Muhammad.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
He was absent. Also,
No, ma'am. I am here.
yes. Today you are here. And what about previous lesson?
Ma'am, I was unwell. I have an infection in my throat.
And
I can't.
okay, it's not my problem, Wahid Muhammad. Just send me all topics, notes, and for the next time I will ask you.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, now I should write notes. And you should work out. Okay. Can you say me about development of general pathology? What is the general pathology?
Mm. Yes, ma'am.
Quickly answer, please.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, the theory of the cellular structure of living organism.
I'm asking you
The
about
cell is the
pathology.
most-
Development.
Ma'am, I can.
You didn't read at home, yes? Wahid Muhammad. 0. Next one. Who want to tell me?
Muhammad Zubair, ma'am.
Okay, Muhammad Zubair, about development.
General pathology.
Yes.
General pathology includes pathological anatomy and pathological physiology. Its development in new times history is divided into two periods, microscopic and macroscopic. Pathological anatomy is a science that studies the structural foundations of pathological process emerged from anatomy in the middle of the 18th century. Okay, ma'am.
Okay, and how many types do we have? My macroscopic and microscopic, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And who is your coordinator?
What, ma'am?
Who is your coordinator?
Ma'am, Asal.
Hazel. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I should write to these Gm25 and Gm26 rappers. If you are disrespect me, I will also. Next one. Wajiha Fatima.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You was absent, yes?
Yes,
23
ma'am.
March, 30 March. What happened with you?
Sorry, ma'am. Next time I can never leave your class.
And you should work out all topics, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Today, Wajiha Fatima, Wahid Muhammad, Shahadat Khan, Hamza Ma'atta, Malia Kasim, Davud Ahmanat. Please tell for them. Please send me your notes.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, Fatima, continue about macroscopic period of pathology in development.
Development of pathology.
Mhm.
Okay, ma'am, I will start. General pathology includes pathological anatomy and pathological physiology. Pathological anatomy is a science that studies the structural foundation of pathological process emerged from anatomy in the middle of 18th century. It's developed in new time history is divided into two periods, microscopic and macroscopic. Microscopic period of pathology development. The cell theory was formulated in the work of German scientist, botanist, and the zoologist Theodor Schwann. Showed that every cell has a nucleus and defined its role, the development and division of the cell. The first attempt of systemized body tissues without the use of microscope was made by the French physician Marie Rancois Charles, who considered the founder of histology as a science. He created the first classification of body tissue. The beginning of pathological anatomy as a science was led by the Italian anatomist and physician. The founder of pathology in Western Europe, Govanai Morgani, Francis Bichat, Karl Rocky, Stanskay, Rudolf Virchow. Francis Bichat is considered the founder of histology as a science. He showed that the vital activity of an individual organ is composed of the function of various tissues. Disease process is localized not in the organ, but in the tissue. Govinai Morgani is Italian anatomist and physician. He showed that each disease caused certain change in the specific organ. He created the first scientifically based classification of disease. Medicine 1800 to 1899, Govinai Batista Margonai, pioneer of pathological anatomy and author on the seat and cause of disease, established the existence of correlation between clinical symptoms of post-mortem findings. Morganine's research helped establish a new epoch in medical science and a new attitude towards specific diagnosis and surgical intervention. His work encouraged scientists to find ways of detecting hidden anatomical lesions in living patients. Medicine in 1800 to 1819, although hospital reform was difficult and expensive, the hospital was transformed into the new center of medical treatment, teaching and research. Large urban hospitals offered unprecedented opportunities for clinical experimentation and statistical studies. As the hospital assumes a more important role in the care of patients, especially in growing urban areas, nursing emerged as a respectable profession for women. Gaining admission to the medical profession itself was very difficult for women, but
Okay, now let's talk about Rudolf Virchow.
Rudolf Virchow.
Mhm.
Rudolf Virchow, 1821 to 1902. The principles of morphological method is a pathology were led by Rudolf Virchow, a German doctor, pathologist, and public figure. Taking into account the theory of cellular structure, he first applied it to the study of a sick organism and created the theory of cellular pathology. Outlined in the article Cellular Pathology as a doctrine based as a physiological and pathological histology in 1858. He believed that the cell is the material substrate of the disease.
Okay. But you have 15 for today, 15 score, okay? Don't disappear because it will be 0.
Okay, ma'am.
And for today, I will wait your notes. Please send to the Moodle.
Okay, ma'am.
To the file Student Independent Work 2, second file.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm. Okay. Ali Raza.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You was also absent 23 March.
No,
Issue
ma'am. I am present.
because you didn't have any grades. And I wrote your
Ma'am, I was
option.
present. Ma'am, I was present.
Okay, continue. About histology.
Okay, ma'am. Development of histology. Histology is a science studying the structure of tissue living organism. Development of histology include two periods. For macroscopics, macroscopics. The founder of histology, Robert Hooke, intro 60, 35 to 70 to 7, introduced the term macroscopy 30 times. Magnifications in 6025 macroscopic technology, magnifying glasses and microscope was born. Antonius Wesley were the founders of scientific microscopic. Mercury made a great contribution to the
Okay, who is
development
the
of
Robert Koch?
histology. Yes, ma'am.
Who is the Robert Koch?
Robert Hooke.
Mhm.
Okay, ma'am. Robert
Koch.
English Robert Hooke was an English scientist. Polymath was using microscope was the first to observe macroorganisms and imperialized scientists inquired in youth, adulthood. He found wealth and esteem by performing over half of the arterial surgery of London Great Fire in 1666. Robert Koch, a German doctor, microbiologist, and hygiene founders of bacteriology, he discovered the specific agents of tuberculosis, chloria, and anthrax. Outlined the concept of pathological tuberculosis. Professor Koch stated he proposed a method of growing bacteria cultures on nutrient medias. For his research on tuberculosis, he was awarded Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1905. Alien McLeod is an outstanding Russian biologist, pathologist, immunologist, and bacteriologist, winner of the Nobel Prize for the theory of immunity described in this similar work study on nature, discovered leukocytes, spleen cells, bone marrow, called phagocytes. He created the phagocytic theory, the theory of immunity of infectious diseases, organized of the first future station in Russia to control rabies and other infection diseases. Development of physiology in Western Europe and Russia. Physiology is a science that studies the activity of intelligent organisms, is part system, organ, cell in cross relation with the surrounding nature. The history of physiology include two empirical experiment, two stages.
Okay.
Herbert Heller,
Raza. And who was this Robert Koch?
Robert
Robert Koch. Yes.
okay, ma'am.
You said about he's a
Robert,
German doctor, yes, microbiologist,
yes, yes, ma'am.
and he researched on tuberculosis, yes?
Yes, ma'am. Anthrax, tuberculosis, chloria.
Okay, Ali Raza. What about your student independent work?
Yes, ma'am.
What about your student independent work?
I am send
Suggest-
on model.
Okay, I will check. Okay, next one, Ibrahim Abdullah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Ibrahim
ma'am.
Abdullah. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
Ibrahim Abdullah. Let's with the physiology. Who is the Albert Haller?
What, ma'am?
Albert.
Albert Thaler is a Swiss physiologist, naturalist, founder of experimental physiology. He established the essence of respiration in the lungs. He established the properties of muscle fibers and believed that physiological knowledge is associated with metaphysical thinking. He assumed that contractions of the heart depend on unknown cause, which lies in the very structure of the heart. Of one of the first textbooks on physiology at the University of Göttingen, he founded an anatomical theater in a botanical garden. Done, ma'am?
Okay, continue.
Okay, next scientist.
Yes, Ivan Sechenov.
He's the founder of physiology in Russia. He studied the physiology of respiration and blood, the dissolution of gases in liquids, and the exchange of energy laid the foundations of aviation and space physiology. Discovered the reflex nature of higher nervous activity, began to consider the activity of the human brain as reflex. He wrote the work Reflexes of the Brain. The level of culture is determined not by the individual characteristics of a person, but by the influence of living conditions and nature. And Ivan Pavlov in 1849 to 1993 is an outstanding physiologist of Russia, laureate of the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1904. Creator of the doctrine of higher nervous activity, he worked in the field of physiology of the cardiovascular, digestive, and central nervous systems. He substantiated the principle of nervosism, the idea of the decisive role of the nervous system in the regulation of the functional state and activity of all organs and systems of the body. Revered reflexes condition and unconditioned.
And
And in Russia, the creation of the foundations and materialistic direction in physiology is associated with activities of A.M. Filimonovitsky, the founder of the Moscow Physiological School in 1833. He defended his doctoral dissertation on the breathing of birds, then for 2 years worked in Germany in the laboratory of Muller, and in 1835 became a professor at Moscow University. A.M. Filmstick is one of the first proponents of the experiment method in Russia physiology and medicine. Together with N.I. Pirogov, he developed the method of intravenous anesthesia using the technique of vivisection. He studied the physiology of respiration, digestion, blood transfusion, and created devices for blood transfusion, a mask for ether anesthesia, and other physiological devices. And Fluid is the first Russian textbook physiology published for the leadership, dear listeners, 1836. And P. Potkin began with transformations. He was the first in Russia to create an experimental laboratory at his clinic in 1816 and 1861, where he performed physical and chemical analysis and studied the physiological and pharmacological effects of medicine substances. He was the first to suggest that bacterial jaundice was caused by an infection. In the early 1816s, Potkin was appointed a member of the Medical Commission of the Imperial Ministry of Internal Affairs. And Dietrich Barford, January 25 to 1849, physiologist, anatomist, embryologist, teacher, rector of the University of Rostock, Doctor of Medical Sciences. And sciences work concerned especially the physiology and biology of humans and animals. In recent years, he worked mainly in the field of evolutionary mechanics. He was engaged in the tissue of organ regeneration at different stages of life.
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am.
And when new time did start?
Yes, ma'am.
And when new time did start?
Newt.
Mhm.
I can hear properly, ma'am. What you say?
When new time did start?
Newton.
New time.
New time. Start.
Mhm. Mm. You just explained me about
Yeah, ma'am.
physiology and you didn't know. Now I will give you 0, Ibrahim Abdullah.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, say, when did it start?
Ma'am, I think I don't remember clearly, but I think it was in
1640, yes? The 16th century.
yeah 1614.
1640, yes?
Yeah, you say 1614.
Mm-hmm. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Today, students explained me about physiology, about histology, and about microbiology.
Hmm.
Are you listening?
Yes, ma'am.
Ibrahim Abdullah. Okay, and what about your student independent work?
Ma'am, yesterday I submitted on Moodle.
Okay, it's your own work or just copy paste?
No, ma'am, no.
It's your own work.
Yeah, it's my work.
Okay, Ibrahim Abdullah. For today, I will give you 15 score, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
And for the next time, please come prepared, okay?
Okay, I will prepare well, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Next one. Hassan Shahzada. Hassan Shahzada. Absent. Shan Rashid.
Yes, ma'am.
And who was this? Robert Koch.
Yes, ma'am. Robert Koch is a German doctor, microbiologist, and hygienist, founder of bacteriology. He discovered the causative agent of tuberculosis, cholera, and anthrax. Outlined the concept of pathological tuberculosis process. He proposed a method of for growing bacterial culture on nutrient media. For his research on tuberculosis, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1905.
I'm asking you about Robert Koch.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Robert Hooke. Uh, Robert Hooke was an English scientist, architect, and polymath who, using a microscope, was the first to realize microbial and improve, impoverished scientist inquirer in young adulthood. He found He found wealth
Mhm.
and esteemed by performing over half of architectural surveys after London Great Fire of 1666.
Mhm. And what is the general pathology?
What, ma'am?
What is the general pathology?
Okay, ma'am. Mm,
Okay, I'm waiting.
yes, ma'am. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, search.
Uh, the general pathology include pathological anatomy and pathological physiology. Pathological anatomy is a science that study the structural foundations of the pathological processes emerged from anatomy in the middle of 18th century. Its development and the new time history is divided into two periods: microscopic and microscopic.
Mhm.
Macroscopic
And
period of pathology development. The cell theory was formulated in the works of German scientist botanist Matthias Selden and zoologist Theodor Schwann. Matthias Selden in the 1838 showed that every cell has a nucleus and defined its role in the development and division of cell care. Theodor Schwann in
okay, Karl
1839 defined the
Rokitansky.
cell as what, ma'am?
Karl Rokitansky. Who was this person?
Uh, Carl.
Rokitansky.
Yes, ma'am. Carl Rokitansky
Find,
is
yes?
yes, ma'am. Is Venice pathologist. She is by nationality a member of Vienna and Paris Academies of Sciences. In 1844, he created the first department of pathological anatomy in Europe. He created three-volume work, Manual of Pathology Anatomy,
Okay, schon решено.
1842 to 1846, based on one more than 20,000 autopsies performed using macro and microscopic method of research. The main cause of this disease was considered as change in the composition of fluid in the organ.
Okay, Roshan Rashid. For today, 15, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And for the next time, you send me, yes? Your student independent work.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Student independent work. Did you send me?
Yes, ma'am. Today I will send you. I will complete my work, and I will today send you on Moodle.
Okay, just do it yourself, okay? Don't
Okay,
copy
ma'am.
paste.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, guys, for the next time, your homework is please write 6 topic and topics where the student independence work. Please learn it because you should turn on your camera and I will ask you. Okay, Owen Muhammad, what happened? Owen Muhammad.
Ma'am, you didn't me.
What?
You didn't ask to me.
Yes, wait.
I did.
Do you understand your homework? 6 topic and you should read your slides,
Yes,
all
ma'am.
6 topics, and I will ask you, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, Owen
Okay,
Muhammad.
ma'am.
Did you send me?
Yes,
Did you
ma'am.
send me
Last day
your?
I sent you on Moodle.
How many number of points I gave you?
No, ma'am. You didn't check my assignment.
It's your own work or just copy paste?
No, ma'am, it is my work.
Okay, what is the empirical and experimental sciences of microbiology? You know, in the history of
Yes,
microbiology,
ma'am.
we have two main periods, experimental and empirical. What does it mean empirical and what does it mean experimental?
Empirical and ma'am.
Experimental.
Yes, ma'am. Empirical. mm, Uh, Empirical is pertaining to or found an experiment is experimental research and empirical
Mhm.
means the pertaining to or based on experience which is based on experiences and etc. It is known as empirical research and which is based on experiments and foundations known as experimental researches.
Mhm. And what is the cell?
Um, Basic structural and functional unit of body known as cell.
Mhm. And difference between plant cell and animal cell, because I explained about this one.
Yes, ma'am. Plant cell, ma'am. Basic difference between animal and plant cell is that plant cell contains cell wall, which gives it structure and rigidity and maintain its shape, while the animal cell contains cell membrane, and plant cell has a vacuole, and animal cell uh, contains cell membrane which allows particles to pass through it and it does not have a cell wall.
Mm-hmm. That's all. What about chloroplast?
Chloroplast, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Chloroplast in plant, chloroplast is also present. It is a basically organelle that convert the light energy to stable the chemical energy, which continues the photosynthetic processes, and also chloroplast also provides diverse metabolic activities for plant activities, and it includes the synthesis of fatty acids, and it also provides food for plants itself and animal cells.
Mm-hmm. And that's all, yes? Okay, Mustafa. Oi, Muan
Yes, ma'am.
Muhammad. 15
Yes,
for
ma'am.
today. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
And the students, Mustafa Imran and Muhammad Qasim. The students, Mustafa Imran. Are you here? Mustafa Imran. Absent.
Most of absent, ma'am, today.
What?
Most of is absent today, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. And Muhammad Qasim.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. The students, he actively responds in class. So today I will put 15. It's my present for you.
Okay, ma'am.
Mustafa Imran, absent. Okay.
Ma'am, how many marks you give me today?
What's your name?
Manur Sadia.
15.
Okay, ma'am.
Wakasula.
Yes, ma'am, present.
Okay. What's happened with you, Wakasula? Have a 0. Did you send me student independent work?
Yes, ma'am, I submit student independent work.
And I didn't check.
Why, ma'am? I
didn't.
submit student independent work and tasks too, ma'am. Student independent work too. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, Wakasala. Let's say me about histology, about founders of histology.
Founder of histology, ma'am.
Yes.
Histology, ma'am. In histology, we study about tissues, ma'am. And the founder of histology, ma'am, Robert Hooke, Anthony Van Leeuwenhoek, Marcello Malpighi, Jane Evangelist Parkinoi, ma'am.
Just
Robert
say
Hooke,
me about Leeuwenhoek. And I will put great.
Leeuwenhoek, ma'am.
Yes, just Leeuwenhoek.
Leeuwenhoek, ma'am, 1632 to 1723. Anthony Leeuwenhoek is Dutch naturalist, inventor of the microscope, founder of scientific microscopy. For the first time in history, he explored the microscopic structure of various forms of living tissue using his invention. He achieved high perfection in the manufacturing of lenses, which gave a magnification of 270 times. In 1665, in his writing, he described the smallest body and called them cell. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Wakasala. For today, okay, 15, okay? For the next time, come prepared. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Okay, guys, thank you for you. And your homework is student independent work topics. Please read. And topic 6. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Please come prepared, okay? Because you have a model. That's why.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Окей, пока, до свидания.
Okay, ma'am. До
Okay,
свидания.
хорошо.
Okay, ma'am. Пока-пока.
Пока-пока.
Спасибо.
Пока-пока.